Hello, everybody. Jamming out to some good music here. Hope you guys are all having a great day. And let's get started. Welcome back to another episode of In the Know. We are now live, so make sure your speakers are unmuted for today. We do not have telephone dial-in for the event. If you guys would like the handout, we'll have them throughout the slides, but feel free, intuit.me/ITK handout-JUL23. In case you haven't figured it out, we have a pretty good formula for, for our handouts. If you're new to the webinar, my name is Leah Hartman. I will be your hostess for today. I am a principal professional services consultant under the account and sales team. Been with the company for over 11 years now and currently residing in my hometown, Tucson, Arizona. Finally starting to get some crazy rain, which is really great. Monsoon season can be hit or miss here, but I digress. Let's get into the meat of the content today. Navigating our webinar platform, just a few housekeeping items before we jump into our presentations. If you have questions related to the content, please feel free to access the Q&A handouts and more throughout the control panel at the bottom of your screen. You can also find the handouts again. We'll have them throughout the slides, www.intuit.me/ITK handout-JUL23. As you guys know the drill, we're going to do a little warm welcome. We'll talk a little bit about CPE eligibility information, how that's going to work, what that's going to look like. We'll review the learning objectives and then today's topics. And we'll end, as always, with your accountant resources that you can utilize throughout the year. So just as another friendly reminder for questions and for feedback, we ask that you please use the Q&A section of your Zoom panel, not the chat button. If you have questions, comments regarding the content today, please feel free to join and chime in there. We do ask that you only submit questions that are related to today's content. There are a ton of you and just a few of us. We will do our very best to answer all the questions that come through. We may not get to yours. We will do our best. Questions not answered during the webinar should be available in our FAQs. And then if you do have technical related issues, meaning the product is not working as designed, or you're having a workflow issue, technical difficulty with the products, please feel free to contact your ProAdvisor support team at 888-333-3451. Again, for all technical questions related outside of today's content related to our product, please call 888-333-3451. And if you guys already have the handouts, you guys know you'll have access to this phone number as well as the other information I am providing you. So don't feel like you have to scramble and remember it all. Just really quickly for CPE process. So in order to receive your CPE, if you guys need it, in each training session, you must be present for a minimum of the 50 minutes to earn 1 CPE credit. We ask that you participate in all of the polling questions. It's not about answering it right or wrong, just make sure you answer it. If all or part of the requirements are met, your CPE will be emailed within 2 weeks following the close of the webinar to the email address that you registered with. So if you're in a large group joining today, the one person that registered will be able to achieve that CPE. So make sure you're logged in personally with your own email if you're trying to get that. Just note, as an FYI, accountant_training@intuit.com is where we're sending it from. So make sure it is in your contacts in your email address book. All right, we've got a lot of great stuff to cover today in our webinar. So I'm going to quit talking and we're going to talk about the objectives really quick. Learn all about multi-condition approval workflows in QuickBooks Online Advanced. I'm super excited to talk about, well, not me, but I'm super excited to hear about it today. Get updates on the 401k limit capping and the compliance around that, as well as find out more about the human resource information systems. And we'll end with discover details on our QuickBooks payments seamless migration, which is very interesting. I'm excited to hear about that one too. So those are our objectives for today. And I'm actually going to go ahead and pass it off to our first presenter, who I believe is Swapnil, who is joining us all the way from India. So Swapnil, if you're there, thank you so much for joining. And if you want to give yourself a quick intro, you can take it away.
Sure. Yeah. and I'm going to present my screen.
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. So let's get started. As Lay mentioned, my name is Swapnil Mundra. I'm a PM in the QBO Advanced team, and I'm in Intuit for last 2 years, and I'm based out of Bangalore, India. Okay. So before we get started and understand more about like what exactly are workflows, what do they do, I wanted to have a quick understanding of how do you get high value transactions reviewed by your clients today? And if you could answer that question, I think that would be a great way to start our conversation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And just as a friendly reminder to the audience, you do have about 1 minute, which is 60 seconds, to answer this polling question if you would like to get your CPE. So please be sure to find that little pop-up that just came up with the poll question. So how do you get high-value transactions reviewed by your clients? Got a couple different options here. Again, there is no wrong answer. Using QBO advanced approval workflows, manually using email, manually using a shared folder or spreadsheet, you're not reviewing, or it's not applicable. Please feel free to add your comments in the Q&A if you would like to let us know why you chose the answer you chose. And we got about 10 more seconds before we close out this bad boy. Swapnil, I'm curious, do you have an idea in your head of what the majority of these folks are going to say?
So my expectation is that most of the people are going to say that they are doing it manually, either using email or a shared folder, but I'm really interested to see like what exactly are they going to say. So yeah, as expected, like almost 60% of people are doing it manually, and 42% of them are doing it over email. So which is not exactly bad, but what could happen because of that is that you might spend a lot of time doing it manually, going back and forth with the approver, and then you also would be saving those approvals locally somewhere. And let's say you are getting audited, going through those audits can become very cumbersome. So like that's where I think it gives us a chance to introduce QBO Advanced, QuickBooks Online Advanced Approval Workflows, and what kind of automation it offers and how exactly it can help. So we'll talk all about that in depth, but let's first cover the next slide, which is talking about like what is multi-condition approval workflow, what is our approach, and what did we hear, all of that. So one line context before I get started on multi-condition approval workflows is like when we launched QBO Advanced, we had approval workflows, but these approval workflows were like very straightforward. You had only one approver, and you would send all your transaction to this one approver. So let's say if you have invoice approval workflow and the designated approver is John, then all the invoices will go to John for approval. Now, when we launched this and as and when we heard customers' feedback, accountants' feedback, what we realized is that people don't have only one approver in their company, they have more than one. And then what they wanted is they wanted to route approvals to different approvers based on either amount, or sometimes it was based on projects, sometimes it was based on vendors, sometimes it was based on location. And then the other thing that all of our customers wanted was an easy way to create workflows, but also a visual way through which they can understand how exactly the workflow works. Does it flow like this? Does it flow like that? So that kind of understanding customers wanted. So based on this feedback, what we heard, what we did is we launched multi-condition approval workflows with Visual Builder. And what exactly multi-condition approval do? It routes your transaction to different approvers based on different conditions. And what does Visual Builder do? It is like an intuitive, visual, and simple way to build workflows that can the great part about it is that it will scale for future use cases as well. A few things that I just wanted to cover is who can access. This is only admin specific feature. So accountants, primary admins, and company admins can access it, and it is only QBO Advanced specific. So obviously only people in QBO Advanced will be able to do it. Second thing is it is available already. It is live and it is available in all three locales, so US, Canada, and UK, and it can be accessed via our webpage. So this is all about multi-condition approval workflows, but I'm sure that you are as excited about workflows as I am. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through about what exactly are workflows, how can you access them, how can you use them, and then we are also going to talk about how exactly to create multi-condition approval workflows, and I'm going to show all of that to you. Okay, so first thing first is what are workflows? So workflows helps businesses save time by automating repeated and otherwise manual business processes. And what are manual business processes or manual tasks? So it could be like reminding customers to pay on time for invoices that are going to turn overdue, or sending a monthly statement to all of your customers. So all of these, like, even though they sound very like trivial, but it takes up a lot of time because you have to go and remind everyone one after another. You have to send these customers manually to each of your customers. So this can become like tedious very quickly. So let me show how exactly you can access workflows and how can you do it. Okay, you are still able to see my screen, I assume, right? Okay, so here is you are logged in into QuickBooks, and on your left side or on your left navigation menu, what you see is the workflows link. This is accountant view. In the business view, it is generally next to get things done, business overview, and then generally workflows are over here. But because we are talking to accountants, I think this is where we will focus. So once you click on workflows, it takes you to the workflows template page. And what are templates? Templates are like predefined workflows that are already set up for you. And what you need to do is you just need to open them and put values according to your business process and just get them enabled, and it will start working for you. So recently we have added like lots of templates. So now we have got like almost 30 templates, and like we understand that, okay, these are a lot of templates, but there is a way through which you can do. So if you click on this label, it will automatically add this filter, and you will be able to see all the workflow templates related to estimates. Or you could also search. So you could search like this. Or if you are more familiar with this kind of flow, where you can add the filters, and it will help you filter whatever you are looking for. One last thing on this page that I wanted to show you is the custom workflow button. And this is also a nice segue for us to showcase like what exactly workflows support today. So if you look at this, there are like a lot of transaction types we are supporting now. And from a use case point of view, we have reminder use case where you want to remind either your customers or your employees about doing something. So that's where reminder would come in picture. Approval is something where you want to get your high value transaction reviewed, be it invoice, be it bill, be it purchase order. Approvals are supported on that. Then we have notification. Notification is a means of establishing trust. So the way you can think about it is like you want to let your vendor know that I have already paid you. You can enable a pay vendor notification, and what will happen is once you pay, it will automatically send that notification out. Send is again one more interesting thing where you don't have to do the work. Workflows in the background will do work for you for things like I want to send unsent invoices which are now in approved status. I want to send them out, and you will be able to do that. Update is again one more interesting use case where what you do is you want to update a memo field on the invoice. You can do that automatically using this workflow. So tons of options and tons of entities that we support, or tons of record types that we support. So please do take a look at this, and this will be really helpful. Let me go back to our slide section or slide deck and quickly talk about like how exactly workflows work, right? Because if you understand that, that also helps you understand or helps you create the workflows in a confident way. So workflows have got like three basic components or three building blocks. The first one is the trigger. So what exactly is a trigger? It just indicates when will the workflow start working. So in this case, the example that I have is workflow will start when invoice is either created or edited. But does that mean that you should run your workflow or should run your engine on all of the invoices? No, we also provide you another building block called as filter, which will help you query out only those or put conditions on certain attributes that will help you filter out certain records. And then the last part is the action block or the like whatever action you want to automate. Like in this case, the example that I have is you want to request approval, but it might be you want to send reminder, you want to send an email. So you could do all of that using this. Okay. Let me now quickly go to how exactly you can create a multi-condition approval workflow. So let me search bill here. And as you can see, here is the bill approval workflow. Now, if you look at this, right, let me just zoom out a little bit. And what you will see is like there is already a workflow like structure that is created for you, and it is flowing in some way. And I will quickly explain how it is flowing. So we are starting here. Then we have our trigger, which is saying we will start the workflow once bill is created or edited. And then we have our condition block, which is like filtering the action for this particular records, which will match this condition. And then we have the action block. But what is interesting in this case is you start here and what will happen is, one second. Okay, so what will happen in this case is for records between $0 to $1,000 for bill amount $0 to $1,000, it will go over here. And then for bill amounts, let's say 1,000 to 5,000, it will get approval from here. For 5,000 to 10,000, it will go here. So what you can see is this is the typical case of bill approval workflow based on amounts. So it is requesting approval from different people based on amount. So that's how it is structured. Now let me quickly go into all of these blocks and explain. So these are the different attributes that we are supporting today, and we keep adding more and more attributes. So we have bill amount, we have vendor, we have location, we have term, we have last change by. And then there are like a lot of operators that we support, which are like both numeric and for string as well. The best part here is you can add conditions. So let's say I have bill amount. I also want to add vendor, and I can also select multiple vendors in one go. So you can see that this is how it is happening. So I can save this, and this will save, and it will look like this, where you have like workflow will automatically filter the records between bill amount $0 to $1,000 and where vendor is like these three vendors that I have selected. Okay. Then there comes the request approval block. So what you can do is you can select the approvers from your drop-down list. So let's say I'm selecting Samuel here. What I wanted to also show you here is the task and email. So if you look at the task here, what you can do is you can customize this task. And if you just do this, sorry, if you add, okay, for some reason it's not letting me do that. Or if you could just come here and if you put hash here, what you will see is there are like lot of email help variables that are there, which you can add here. So there could be company name, there could be vendor name, there could be bill number, total amount, balance due. So a lot of these things are already added here, and you can add them into your email that will go to the approver. So that's what will happen. And once the record conditions are met, the approval will automatically go to Samuel. Let's say in this case, okay, I showed this. Let's say in this case, we request approval from Nivedita. In this case, we request approval from Saski, and here, let's say we request approval from maybe Anil. Okay. Another thing that I wanted to quickly show you is this one. Let's say if I go back and delete this block. Okay, so I deleted this block. So you see a small plus button here, and this plus button can help you add the action and condition back. And this is the beauty of Visual Builder, because what it will help you do is it will help you create all these building blocks and keep adding the structure or keep expanding this tree further so that it can help you customize the process the way you want it. So let's say I don't want to add it. I want to get all the bills which are from $0 to $1,000 auto approved. So what I do is I save this bill, save this workflow, and this is now saved. And what I can do is I can go to my workflows page. I can again use filters here. And let's say I have the record type is bill and my workflow type is approval. Let's say apply filters. So you will see that I have already applied, I have this workflow that is created for me. I will quickly show you how this, how it will work for in reality, like how you will see the approval workflow for tasks. So, okay, sorry. Let's go here and create a new bill. So I'm creating this new bill, and this is for this particular vendor. And remember, our condition was that for $0 to $1,000, we didn't want any approval, and we wanted it to get auto approved. So let me save this, and the moment I save it, you will see that this bill is auto approved because we had put the condition in that way. Now let's create another workflow, another bill. And that bill, let's put it like $1,500. I need to choose vendor. The moment I do that, it is going to ask me to send it for approval. So let's say I sent it for approval. Now let's go to our task manager and see what is due today.
And Swapnil, just as a heads up, if we can just get another minute or two, I don't want to leave less time for the other presenters, but this is a lot of really great information, and we love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I will be done in 1 minute. So you can see the approval workflow is already creating a task for Nivedita. And if we go back to our workflow and just quickly check, like, is it working properly or not? I think that will help us a lot. So one last thing that I will show you is one second, it's loading. Yeah, so what you can see is if the bill amount is between $1,001 and $5,000, then the approval should go to Nivedita. So that's what is happening in this case. It is automatically routing the approval based on conditions. So that is what is approval workflows, and that's how you do multi-condition approval workflow. Let me go on to the question and answer section and see if you have any questions that I can answer.
We've actually got a ton of folks answering questions on the back end, and we appreciate so much all of your time today. We will need to move on, but I just
Sure.
want to say a couple things. Number one, this is only available in QuickBooks Online Advanced at this time. If you have feedback on if you'd like to see it in other versions, please feel free to put that in the feedback that's in the product. And it is available in Canada for those. We always get that question, right? Like that's kind of like the hey, is it in Canada? It is in Canada, so don't forget. But Swap Mills, thank you so much for being here. I know you are super far away. You're probably up late or up early, so thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you so much, and have a great day, everyone. Bye.
You too. Take care. Awesome. So we're actually going to move on to some payroll stuff. I know some of you asked, is this just advanced? No, definitely not. We do have some payroll stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Sonam, and we're going to take it away. Thank you so much for being here.
Awesome. I'm going to start by sharing my screen. And let me know if you guys can all see it.
Yep, I can see it.
Awesome. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Sonam, and I am one of the product managers in the QuickBooks payroll team. And today I will be talking to you about all things HRIS, which is Human Resource Information System. Our vision with HRIS is we want our customers to never outgrow QuickBooks. As they hire more employees and they have as they hire more employees, we want them to have all the necessary tools they need in order to better manage and grow their businesses. Today, I will be talking about few such features which we have launched or are about to launch in order to help you and your clients efficiently manage your employee workforce. Okay, so let's start with talking about document management. For a long time, there was no really any way in QuickBooks Payroll to upload or manage your employee documentation. Employers relied on external tools like Google Drive and local storage like filing cabinets to store most of their HR documents. Some even kept them in their email attachments, adding to just one more tool they needed to manage their employees. And we all know storing employee documents in local storage means creating a risk of vital records being lost, damaged, or stolen. So we did two things. We built a single convenient place to store, manage employee documents. We recently launched this ability for employers and accountants to upload documents under their employee record. This feature is already available to everyone. If you haven't already tried this out, I highly recommend you test this out. Since launch, we have been actively listening to all our customers, and they could not be more thrilled with this feature launch. Next, very soon, we will also be allowing our employers to share these uploaded documents with their employees. We take security very seriously, so all employees will need to have access to their workforce accounts in order to view these shared documents. And similar to like document upload, this feature will also be available to all payroll administrators in US and Canada. And this feature will be rolling out very, very soon by end of August. So very exciting stuff here. Next, we also worked on expanding our employee records. Our current employee profile lacks important HR information, which means that business owners have to use other systems to manage their HR needs. This creates a separate source of truth for employee data, which can be very confusing and daunting to many employers. So what we did is we are now expanding our employee profile to include key pieces of HR-related employee information, which will enable our customers to better manage their teams. In this phase, emergency contact and preferred first name have already been launched and are available to 100% of our US and Canada customers. In a short amount of time, we are seeing pretty impressive traction and high adoption rate with these features. And similar to document management, this feature is also available to all payroll administrator and all employees with access to the Workforce app. Last but not least, very soon, employers and employees will be able to complete Form I-9 in QBO Pay. For those of you who are not familiar, the Employment Eligibility Verification Form I-9 is a federally mandated requirement and is used by US employers to verify an employee's identity and establish their eligibility to work in the United States. Currently, majority of our employers are doing this process manually. They fill out a manual paper form I-9 and have their employees do the same, which results in additional burden for both employers and poses significant compliance risk for our employers as well. So what are we doing about this? Our vision is to provide a fully automated I-9 process, eliminating the manual work to ensure that employers have the confidence in compliance while delivering a great first-day experience for the employees. In order to do this, the employees will need to complete their Section 1 in the Workforce app, and the employers will complete their Section 2 in QBOP. And the completed Form I-9 will be stored in the Employee Profile Documents tab for easy access anytime. This feature is also coming live very, very soon by the end of July, and we are very excited about it. So stay tuned for it. I just want to wrap it up by saying, why is all this HRIS information important to you? Well, accountants like you are often tasked with way more work than what is scoped for your clients. You handle time tracking, HR questions, customer service, you name it all. We recently surveyed a bunch of accountants, and managing employee data was actually the #1 overall priority for them. So we truly believe that these new HRIS features will help your clients streamline their employee processes, which means that they will save a lot of time by not looking for that one specific piece of information or that one document which they have lost over a period of time. And who doesn't want a more organized and productive workplace, right? Now, if you're an accountant who also handles QuickBooks payroll, these features can also be a game changer. They will help you optimize your HR operations and will give you more time to focus on what really matters, which is providing your top-notch bookkeeping and accounting services to your clients. So I believe it's a win-win situation for all. Thank you all. That's all for today. There are a lot more HRIS features coming in FY24, so stay tuned for that. And if there are any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. For the next section, I will pass it on to Puru, who will talk about 401k limit capping. Thank you.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Puru. I'm really excited to just talk about some of this 401k stuff really quickly. This is, especially relevant to you if you have, online payroll clients or perhaps a 401k plan on your own. So a little bit about me. I've been at Intuit for around 2 years, a little more than 2 years at this point. And I am based in Seattle, Washington. That is the most beautiful place in the summer. So I'm very happy today to be chatting with all of you. I'm going to go outside and get some sun soon. So we're going to start with a really quick polling question. And I'm actually really curious to see what the answers are here. You guys are accountants, so you'll be good with numbers. But the question here is, what is the employee contribution limit for 401k plans in 2023? We have a couple of options. So number one is $22,500. Then the second option is $21,000. Third option is a whopping $30,000. And then this is where it gets a little tricky. We have option 4, which is somehow both $22,000, $22,500, and $30,000, and then finally $6,500.
Ooh, I love this question. I think I might be. Don't know if I know the answer to this, Peru. That's awesome. Just as a reminder, folks, we got about 15 seconds left before we close out the poll. Even if you get the answer wrong, we want to make sure you answer it. So don't worry, and we'll close it out and we'll get the answer. I think I know what it is, but I don't want to say it and be wrong.
Yeah, we'll discuss this. I think it's a little bit of a trick question. I wanted to keep folks on their toes. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, okay, great. Okay, so I love this. So this is a little bit of a trick question for you all. I see the number one option, 43% of you said 22,500. You are not wrong, but the actual answer is actually option 4, which was the second most, I guess 34% of you said that. And that is because if you are under the age of 50, the contribution limit is 22,500. If you are over the age of 50, you can do catch-up contributions, which bring that to $30,000. So glad I sort of got some of you on your toes with this one. But with that said, I want to segue right into what I want to talk about here today, and that is 401k limit capping. And so what this means is that in general, QuickBooks has millions of employees that are using that are on our payroll services, and a lot of them have retirement deductions. But what happens is that sometimes they're coming in from different employers, or they might have both a traditional 401k account or a Roth 401k. And so what that means is in some cases, in some edge cases, they might over contribute to their plans, which results in an IRS violation, or sometimes even under contribute, which results in some missed savings. And so it creates an administrative burden for our accountants. For those of you who have to deal with some of these situations, as well as the business owners, you have to go and talk to the retirement broker and get all this addressed and fixed. And so what we did was actually, we have updated our QuickBooks Online Payroll to make sure that there is a hard cap on 401k and 401k Roth contributions that meet the current IRS limits, which I just walked you all through, including all those catch-up cases as well. And in the case that someone is coming with a previous employer's 401k, like an outside contribution, those have the appropriate limit set as well. So all this means is that there is no extra work for you all. You would see a notification within QuickBooks Payroll that calls out, hey, for this particular employee, they have reached the contribution limit cap, and their deduction would automatically be updated. So this is available to, it's not a feature that you would necessarily use. This is just sort of behind the scenes work that will make your lives easier, but this is available for all of our payroll administrators with 401k accounts in all SKUs of QuickBooks Online Payroll, as well as the associated folks who have payroll clients who are attached. We've been rolling this out in phases. So the last phase is actually going to be launching in the next couple of weeks, towards the end of July, early August. So really easy, quick, quality of life improvement for those of you who had to deal with all of this. And then I'm going to segue into talking a little bit more about some compliance updates. So I have a second polling question with you all. And that question is, how familiar are you with Secure 2.0 tax credits pertaining to 401k plans? Option one could be, hey, I'm not familiar with them at all, haven't heard about them, perhaps this is the first time. Option two would be, hey, I am somewhat familiar with these credits, but I haven't discussed them with my payroll clients yet, so heard about them. Option three is, hey, I am familiar with these, I have discussed them with my clients, and we are potentially thinking about leveraging them. They might or might not be applicable in that case. Option four is, I regularly advise clients on these tax credits and intend to leverage them potentially for your own practice. And then finally, perhaps you don't have any payroll clients. I know there's a bunch of you who might not, so this might not be applicable, but really curious to hear, how you guys are thinking about some of these tax credits.
Yeah, this might be a really great teaching moment for those that I don't even know about the tax credits 2.0. So it'll be, I think, really educational for folks. Just as an FYI, we will be closing out the poll very quickly. Been seeing a lot of folks mentioning that they're not seeing the poll. If you've moved away from your Zoom, you might not get it popped up. Make sure you look at your Zoom at the bottom, and you should see that little second icon that you can click on. So it does look like we're going to get that poll closed here. And it does look like a majority of folks are not familiar. So I would love to hear, Peru, on what you have to share with us.
Sure. And you know what, there's a lot of tax implications associated. And so we have some additional links for you all to learn more. But let me just start off with some of these compliance updates, and I'll dive into tax credits as like the cherry on top. So recently, there have been states that are passing on a state-by-state basis retirement mandates that employers have to be offering a retirement program in order to be compliant with that state's retirement mandate. So there are 6 states in total that have mandatory compliance policies, the biggest of them being California, but there's also Illinois, Colorado, Oregon, Connecticut, and Maryland. So those are the 6 states with mandatory compliance. And then there's around 8 other states are in the process of adopting state retirement mandates, one of them being New York. And so what this means is that if you have a payroll client, or perhaps your own business has a certain number of employees, once again, it varies state by state, you should be offering a sort of retirement program. Some of these states have their own retirement plans that they are offering, but I just wanted to call this out for a good chunk of you who would be impacted. There are specific types of 401k programs that actually make it much easier to abide by some of these policies. Once again, there are state programs, but there are also specific types of 401ks, such as safe harbor 401ks that meet these compliance mandates, as well as it's fulfill non-discriminatory testing for 401k plans. The deadline to offer something like this for this tax year is August 23rd, 2023. So I want to clarify that the various mandates in different states have different timelines. The safe harbor 401k deadline for most brokers is going to be August 23rd, 2023 this year. And then finally, I want to jump into tax credits. So Secure 2.0 tax credits are actually pretty recent. Congress passed an act in December of 2022 that basically encourages businesses to offer retirement plans, particularly small businesses. So what this means is that if I'm a small business offering a 401k plan for the first time, I would be able to offset a good chunk of my plan setup and admin related costs, up to $16,500 over the course of 3 years. We did the math looking at our payroll businesses, and we realized that the vast majority of our customers are going to be eligible for these tax credits. Obviously, there's certain eligibility criteria, so we have linked out some IRS information around that. And on top of that, if businesses are, offering a matching to employees' contributions, they'll be eligible to get a $1,000 matching credit per employee from years 2 to 5 of their 401k. So this is some really helpful tax information. We've heard that accountants get reached out to their clients about 401ks and retirement benefits. So these tax credits are actually very, very helpful and make retirement achievable for a lot of businesses. There's also a calculator we've linked here. So you can go around and click on that. And that is provided by our retirement partner guideline. They're wonderful and have a ton of resources to sort of help navigate this. With that said, I think we're in the Q&A section. So I'll hand it off to Leah.
Thanks, Peru, for all of the awesome information you've provided. And I know we've got some questions for Sonam as well. If we can just kind of take a step back really quick and jump back to the previous payroll updates. We've got some folks asking about the Workforce app. Do you think you could just give kind of like an overview of what that is? And when we say Workforce app, what does that mean?
Yeah, absolutely. The Workforce app is the place where your employees can go and see their W-2s, their paycheck information. It's a great place to get your employees onboarded on their own. If you don't want to enter all their personal information and everything you need for them to get ready for payroll, just send them an invite to the Workforce app and they will self-onboard into your system and provide all the information, which will save you time and hassle of entering all that by yourself. And that will be the go-to place where all employees can go and manage all their future tasks, such as completing I-9 and in future viewing documents shared by their employers.
That's awesome. I actually used to support payroll from a customer service perspective, and the amount of changes that y'all have made with the Workforce app is just amazing, and love that. Speaking of I-9, is there an additional cost to that feature that you discussed?
Great question. No, the feature comes completely free and included in your premium and elite SKUs.
Thank you so much. Those are the two that stuck out for me the most. If you have an opportunity to catch some questions I may have missed, if you could answer those on the background, thank you so much. Peru, I wanted to ask a couple questions around, hang on, I have it here. Bear with me. Oh, somebody had mentioned that there was a possible discrepancy in the PowerPoint. You mentioned that there were 6 states that mandated these requirements, and on the FAQ it says 8. Would you be able to just clarify for us?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. So there's 6 states, like I listed, with mandatory compliance mandates, and some of those states you might be hit with penalties if you're not, offering a 401k at specific, timelines depending on those states. 2 additional states actually have retirement programs already live, and I didn't list those out because there's voluntary compliance. So that would be Washington as one of those states, and I want to say Maine is the other state. So those states also have retirement programs and mandates, but there is voluntary compliance. So that's the discrepancy there.
Okay, thank you so much for clarifying. I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page. And then there was a question around, does this apply to 401 401k Roth account? Like, does it apply to other type of 401k accounts or one specific?
Oh, that's a great question. So it really depends, but primarily the different states, they have their different sort of retirement programs and mandates based on, employee size and tenure of the businesses. Typically, most 401k accounts would satisfy those requirements. A lot of the state programs themselves, they're sort of offering Roth IRAs as well. So I would really encourage folks to, based on the state you're in, look up the guidelines and the mandates, as well as the timelines. For example, in California, they introduced this a while ago, and over time they sort of roll this out to bigger businesses, and then slowly trickle this down to smaller businesses. So California, for example, now the mandates are 5 employees, and the businesses had to have been around for at least 2 years. So a vast majority of California businesses. We have additional links our partner shared in their. They have a blog that sort of lists mandates state by state, and so encourage folks to check that out, as well as state websites as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Peru. And for those that keep asking, where can I find more information? I believe we've got all kinds of links on the actual handout that'll take you to the FAQ, as well as some other stuff. So if you have other questions, also, please feel free to reach out to our support team. They will be more than happy to assist. I appreciate you guys so much for being on In the Know. Such great information to provide. And hopefully I'll see you guys again soon with more new updates. Awesome. So we're actually going to move on to our very last presenter, and that is going to be my good friend Pippa. And Pippa, whenever you're ready, please feel free to take over screen share and introduce yourself.
All right, give me one moment. Okay. Hello, everyone. So my name is Pippa. I'm a product manager at Intuit. I've been here about 3 years. I'm based out of our New York office. I work on the payments team, and I'm going to be walking you through some exciting changes that we've made to the migration flow, specifically for customers that have payments on QuickBooks Desktop and are looking to migrate those accounts to QuickBooks Online. So a little bit of background here. I don't know how many of you here, probably many of you, have gone through the migration process from desktop to QuickBooks Online, but it can be pretty painful. And what we heard from our customers, specifically around the payments experience, is that it really just wasn't up to snuff. A lot of customers were having to go through a process basically where they were calling customer care to unlink and relink their accounts. There were ways that they could do that self-served in product, to unlink from desktop and then relink to QuickBooks Online. But it was kind of a complicated, confusing process. A lot of customers were having to call our help agents to complete that process. And many customers, because that process was just so painful for them, were actually signing up for new payments accounts in QuickBooks Online instead of porting over that existing payments account that they already signed up for years ago in QuickBooks Desktop. And when they sign up for a new account, their fees were changing, their scheme was changing, things were changing. And we just heard that there was a lot of room for improvement there. And we also specifically heard that one of the painful pieces of that process as well is that from a lot of our customers, when we spoke to them directly, this is less on the accountant side of things, they didn't want to deactivate their payments account on desktop to move that payments account to QuickBooks Online, because a lot of them were just trying QuickBooks Online out. They wanted all those same features that they had on QuickBooks Desktop in QuickBooks Online, but they weren't sure that they were ready to fully kind of commit to QuickBooks Online quite yet. And so they didn't want to deactivate their payments account in order to try it out on QuickBooks Online. And so what we did as a result is we completely turned the process from moving your payments account from desktop to QuickBooks Online on its head. And now, instead of needing to unlink and relink your account in order to get that same payments account that you had on desktop with the same fees and settings and payments methods in QuickBooks Online, by going through this manual process, we are actually making a copy of your payments account as part of the data migration experience when you're bringing over your accounting data, so that when you get to QuickBooks Online, there's no manual work required. You don't need to call customer care, customer success to kind of assist with that unlink and relinking. And You can still process payments on desktop while trying out payments on QuickBooks Online, but it should look and feel very much like the same payments account. You have the same fees and the same settings and the same payment methods. It's all the same. Technically, the merchant ID will have changed, so you'll see that reflected in your settings. But everything else about the account would remain the same. The residuals are the exact same. We make sure that we maintain those and the copying over. And again, now the experience is seamless. There's no manual work that you need to do. All of this is happening in the background as you are doing your data migration. And so I'm actually going to show a video for this. Let me stop sharing and reshare really quickly. So this should look familiar to a lot of you. It's the desktop project, the product. So here's a customer just verifying the data in their product and desktop, and now they're going to go and start a migration to QuickBooks Online. So bear with me here. I'm going to skip around a little bit. Okay. So they're going to get started. Again, this will probably look familiar to a lot of you here. Data migration is happening. And now this customer is going to go log into their online account. And now when they've logged into QuickBooks Online, their payments account now will have been successfully carried over. And so when they go to their setup checklist and it says, start doing the things that you did in QuickBooks Desktop, you'll see a new task here, which says create an invoice and get paid your way. We've kept your fees, settings, and payment methods from QuickBooks Desktop the same. So they can go through here. This again should look familiar to you. It's the invoicing first time use experience in QuickBooks Online. I'm just going to skip a little bit towards the end. And then when they've gone ahead and sent their first invoice, they'll see one final modal which says, nice work, your first invoice is on the way, but important because you use QuickBooks Desktop. If you're using both QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online, be sure to record payments in both places. Payments received in QuickBooks Online are not automatically recorded in QuickBooks Desktop. And this is basically just to help the customer understand that data flow between desktop and QuickBooks Online isn't continuous, right? So if you're receiving a payment in QuickBooks Desktop, you need to make sure to mark that payment in QuickBooks Online and vice versa, because now you can process payments on both accounts. And something I will also say is that we are in the coming months launching a new change that will allow both customers and their accountants to very easily close the desktop payments account from within QuickBooks Online, from within that same setup checklist that I just showed in this demo, so that you can get around kind of the double bookkeeping conundrum there if you choose to process in both platforms. Now, the other thing that we've done that we heard was a big pain point for our customers and for our accountants is that in the past, when customers migrated to QuickBooks Online from QuickBooks Desktop, and they had a lot of stored credit cards against customer profiles, they would lose that data in the migration process, which is, unacceptable on our part. And so we wanted to make sure that we fixed that as we were looking at this migration process. And so actually, as of earlier this week, we just launched another product enhancement where now when you migrate your data from desktop to QuickBooks Online, as again, part of that same data migration process, we're going to be copying all of your stored wallets and all of your stored payment information from desktop to QuickBooks Online, so that when you get there, it's all waiting for you, ready to use. The one thing that I will call out here is that in QuickBooks Desktop, as many of you guys may be familiar, we have the concept of jobs that are attached to a customer. And the customer can have a stored wallet, but a job for a given customer can also have a stored wallet. In QuickBooks Online, we don't have the same concept of jobs, but we do have a concept of a sub-customer. So any wallets that are stored against a job, which is associated with the customer, is now going to be stored as a sub-customer associated with that same main customer. So if myself, Pippa, I was a customer profile on desktop, and let's say we had my Chase credit card as my main payment method, but then you had a job for mowing Pippa's lawn, which actually had my American Express on file. Now, when I move to QuickBooks Online, you'd still have Pippa with the Chase credit card. And instead of having a mowing Pippa's lawn as a job with that American Express card, in QuickBooks Online, you'd see Pippa as the main customer and mowing Pippa's lawn as a sub customer, with the payment method remaining the same across both. Now, the final thing that I want to call out for everyone here is that, as I mentioned, everything should be happening seamlessly in the background. The way that we wanted to approach this migration experience for our customers is that we wanted to eliminate manual work. However, there are some things that need to be true for us to be able to successfully migrate your data and migrate your payments account. And mainly this has to do around making sure that customers have the right permissions access when they are doing that migration process, so that we are making sure that we are protecting against fraud when customers are doing that migration of their payments account. And so specifically what needs to happen in order for us to be able to make all of this data and your payments account get migrated over in the background is that when you are doing the migration from desktop to QuickBooks Online, you need to check that, one, you are logged in with admin access when you are initiating the data migration. If you are doing the data migration from a file or you do not have admin access, we will not be able to copy over your payments account, and we will not be able to bring over your stored wallet information. The other thing that must be true is that even if you're logged in with admin access, you also have to ensure that the admin on QuickBooks Online matches the admin access on QuickBooks Desktop. And as again, many of you guys will already know, you can have multiple admins. It just needs to be true that the admin access which you are logged into with QuickBooks Online is also an admin on desktop. And if both of those things are true, then we should be able to bring over your payments account with no manual work required. And we should be able to bring over your stored wallet information and stored credit card information with no manual work required on your part. Okay. So hopefully this is pretty easy because it's what I just covered, but moving on to the poll. So the question for everyone is, what must be true to ensure that your desktop payments account and stored customer payment information is successfully migrated to QBO? Is it one, that the admin on QBO must match the admin on desktop? Is it two, that you must initiate the migration process while logged in with admin access? Is it three, that the admin on QBO must match the admin on desktop and you must initiate the migration process while logged in with admin access? Or is it four, you must be the master admin on the desktop payments account?
Awesome, guys. We've got about 20 seconds left before we close out, and I know we are going to be ending pretty much right on time. So once we're done with this poll, we will wrap up for the day. A lot of great information. And I do see, I think we've got a winner here. So thank you guys so much for paying attention. We'll get that poll closed out. Let's see, Pippa, did they get most of it right?
Yep. We got it
Awesome.
mostly right.
And remember, guys, if you got it wrong and you answered all good, you'll still get your CPE. So thank you so much, Pippa, again, for all your time. We're going to actually move into the closing section and just mention some resources. For those that were not able to get our questions answered, please feel free to call support if you have any other questions, comments, or concerns. We appreciate you guys being here today. As a final reminder, for the webinar, trainings and webinars available at qbtrainingevents.com. Firm of the Future blog has a lot of really great resources on updates, as well as accountants' perspectives on workflows and all that good stuff. And of course, if you guys are wondering about how and what we do with the feedback that you've given us, please feel free to look at that. Thank you guys again so much for being here today. I am going to call it, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your month. Stay cool, stay dry, wherever you're at. Thanks again. Take care.